Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Roundtable, the Ascension Roundtable. And tonight I'm hosting. My name's Nikki Fouere, and I'm lucky enough to have these beautiful people on the panel. So, Max, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Max, and I'm very happy to be here with you, connecting with all of you. As always, is a pleasure, and I'm so grateful to share this wonderful moment with each one of these wonderful women and with all of you.
Hi everyone, I'm Isabelle Zimmerman. I am, you can find me under Attracting Wisdom. I am an Ascension teacher and I love doing these roundtables. It's really nice to get some feedback from you guys to let us know if it resonates with you, and it gives you an opportunity to share your journey during this ascension that we're all in together. Kimberley?
Hi everybody, Kimberley here from Down Under in Australia. So everybody, for those of you who don't know me, I am a counsellor and a channel and a light language alchemist. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here. You can find more about me at kimberleyleite.com.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome. So, just for everybody who's listening now or later, all of us have all our information posted, so you can, if you're interested in one of us or all of us, you can contact us through the information that we'll be providing with the video. Voila. So I chose the topic tonight of a relationship with you, a journey back to self. So, this is about the ascension, and the ascension is all about oneself. It's about our personal journey. How do I navigate my reality, and how does it change as I move through time, right? We say time doesn't exist, but we experience time. And certainly from 2 years ago, I think when we first started doing the round table till now, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like a totally different human being. So where am I right now, and what kind of themes are coming up for me? And I do like to talk about themes because it seems like what was relevant or prevalent in my vibration and my human experience 6 months ago might still be something that comes up in my present moment, but how my relationship with that experience and with that theme or that subject certainly changes. And that's what I wanted to talk about tonight, because we've talked a lot about many different things, and it always comes back to that personal journey. How do you find more joy in your life in these times, which I don't want to call challenging, because I think all times are actually challenging. I mean, especially for me, when I look at the outside world, we've been through COVID, and now we're in a war, there's a war going on, and I live in Europe. But really, I would say I've always been more interested in my personal journey than what's been going on outside in the world anyway. I don't want to say that I'm not affected, but I'm much more interested in how I navigate to have more joy, to have more self-acceptance, and just feel more love for myself and for everyone and everything. And why do I want that? Because I guess it's because I'm a freedom seeker. And freedom is in being released from all those stories, what we call human bondage. And I don't know that I'll ever be fully released, because that's part of the dance between 3D and 5D. We get to have these experiences we perceive as suffering, and then as we transmute them, we come to new expansive state, and we have a new perspective on how things go. And I always like to give examples of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to talk about one of the themes rather, that has come up for me recently. And it's sort of been in my vibration for a really long time, because it really something happened that really triggered it. So the theme is rejection. And what happened was really something not very serious. It really wasn't serious at all. But that's the thing about these themes that we get to visit, is that it's a little tiny thing, but it triggers something that's historic, right? Something that has been an experience I've lived over and over and over again with different people, places, and things. But it's always this, I mean, it's always the same theme, and I can feel it. So I live in France. I live outside of Paris, and I have a large group of, well, not a large group. I have a group of friends, several groups of friends, actually. And one group, they're really fun. I love them very much. They have no idea what the Ascension is, but you know, they're exploring reality like I am, and seeking more freedom as well. Their essence is still love. So there's always something you can connect with somebody else. So anyway, in this group of friends, you know, we're mostly couples, and I have a lot of fun. We dance and we have parties and go to dinners and go to restaurants and things like that. Anyway, I went to a party at one of my closest friends last Saturday. And so we were about, let's say, 6 couples. And it was really fun. We were celebrating a birthday, and I danced until the wee hours of the morning. And just as I was getting ready to leave, I'm saying goodbye to some people, and somebody's husband says to me, "Oh, well, you know, my wife is going to Greece." And I just was like, "What do you mean she's going to Greece? Why don't I know about that?" Because she's one of my closest friends. And then I went up to her and I said, "You know, you're going to Greece?" And she said, "Yeah, so-and-so invited me." And then I found out that every woman in that party was invited except me. Right. So it, you know, it immediately felt like it was an emotional wound. It was just a big shock. And it triggered that feeling of not being good enough, not being loved by others. And it was amazing how it affected me, because I remember being in shock. And then the next day, which was Sunday, all those stories that I used to tell myself, like, nobody loves me, something's wrong with me, I'm not good enough, why don't people love me, all those kind of stories started popping up. And what's really cool about being able to visit and revisit these kinds of things, which we call triggers, is that because I'm the master of my reality, and also I'm becoming a master of my triggers, I was able to actually feel these emotions, hear these stories in my head, and yet at the same time, I was an observer, right? So I was sort of like, there was a part of me that was looking at this whole thing going, "Oh my gosh, you've been here before. This sounds so familiar," right? And you know, I went in, and I went inside, and I started talking to my little girl, because it was my little girl who, like, we call this the you know, I'm thinking in French, but it's, you know, it's inner child. There we go, inner child. So I was talking to my little girl, who was my inner child, and I was comforting her, because I felt her calling to me, you know, and I soothed her. And yeah, as I'm a therapist, I you know, worked on it over the next couple of days, but at the same time, meaning like I was doing tapping, and I was having a dialogue and connecting and moving into my heart center and separating from these stories. And I was processing what I was going through. And at the same time, I was feeling the emotion, which actually detached from the story about not getting invited. And it just became like this sadness, you know, it was like energy that just needed to move. And you know, I would cry, you know, and I think it lasted 3 or 4 days. And I just, every time I felt sad, I allowed myself to cry. And I think it was probably, maybe, let's see, that happened on, so Saturday night late, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I think by Tuesday I was moving into acceptance and detachment. And by Thursday, I was moving into love for the woman who didn't invite me, right? And I was moving into love for myself. And then like, it was just amazing because I felt expanded. I felt so much love. And it's funny because there's a thing, I'm not going to go to it tomorrow. I've got a lot to do and I'm leaving for the States on Thursday, but there's a social event tomorrow that I was invited to. And by the way, I was also invited. I wasn't invited to Greece where they're all going to go, but I was invited to the south of France by somebody else. And I was thinking how interesting the universe works, right? I made that shift and I immediately got invited somewhere else. And I was just thinking how interesting it is because even 6 months or a year ago, I don't know that I would have reacted. I know I wouldn't have reacted the way I reacted this time because 6 months ago, I was still judging myself for reacting to triggers because I had this idea because I'm a spiritual being and because I've done so much personal development, right? That all that stuff sort of, I've done it. It's been there, done that kind of thing. And in fact, my personal experience is that things come up again and again. And it's funny, I was talking to Isabelle about this. I channeled about it and I was like, I had said to Isabelle on the phone, rejection is just in my vibration. I'll always probably get some form of rejection. And I don't know if that's true or not, but you know, what my guides gave me as a message was that it's there, but I don't have to activate it, right? I don't have to activate it. I even got like an image. It was like, it's sort of in my DNA. And as soon as I like press the activation button, which is believing all those stories, then it becomes stronger. But so it's really interesting because I don't believe that I will always react to it. That's what I want to say. And whether I do or I don't, I think it was a vehicle for me to release some stories and some emotion around the whole thing. Every once in a while, I feel like as an empath, I just need to cry. So it was a great opportunity for that. And it was an expansive experience. That's what's really cool about it. Like, just feeling so much love last couple of days, acceptance for myself, so much more freedom. So, and also I realized I can let myself off the hook. I can still react to triggers. I'm not a good person. I'm not a bad person. I'm just a human having an experience. And I don't have to put the bar up so high. I can just be like everybody else. And not having to be superhuman in that way is actually way more fun. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to share, my experience with my trigger and how expansive it was for me. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys on the panel have to say about your experiences. Thank you so much.
Let me jump in because I have something similar, a rejection that happened to me. Not as so long ago as Christmas with my father family. And so rejection, I was rejected by my father. I organized to go for Christmas, and we had coming together with my sisters and my mother. And as I didn't want to have a meeting with my stepmother, I just asked my father to meet me outside in a restaurant, in a bar, to have a cup of tea, something like that. A cup of tea, so English. Anyway, so long story short, the day that was planned for the meeting, my sister called me in the morning and she says she was not feeling well, and my father went to pick her up and bring her back to his house because they didn't want her to stay alone. And so that was a 1 hour drive to go and back. And as she was telling me that, my father was there with her, and he said that if I wanted to see him, I had to go to their house, which obviously was not going to happen because I already said not going to happen. And so I was there left with a situation where he did a 1 hour trip for my sister, and he was saying that he couldn't do a trip for me of half that. So I just was there saying, okay, all right, knowing that he's not even conscious of that. He doesn't realize that. And at the same moment on the phone, and I also don't know if he knows that I could hear him, but he said, I have no son anymore. So I said, interesting. So yeah, that was a pure and clear rejection. And I said, okay, right. Goodbye. I just said, Merry Christmas and goodbye. What do you want me to do? You've been clear. And yeah, so that was a new trigger, right, of rejection. But I already kind of knew that I already worked on the rejection, but that opened me the understanding, because up until that moment, I was blaming my stepmother for that rejection. And so I realized, actually, it's not my stepmother, it's my father. So I had to take that and run with it, because I said, okay, there you go. And as I had already worked on that rejection, it was easier to work on that because I was able to say, okay, all right, that's it. But yeah, it doesn't hurt less, still hurt, but then it's just the way it is, right? It's a huge thing to work on family, especially parents, where you have to realize that biological connection, well, it's only in the physical, because the biological exists only in the physical. So to release that expectation or that spatial relationship that we hope to have with our parents, if you have it, great. But if you don't, you are not making mistakes, you're not wrong. It's just that it's not there. And you have other people that have a function of family, and actually that that probably are, as we were talking the last roundtable, they probably are also part of our soul family, and one way or another in the physical reality they have, or we have had, that relationship of parents, children, and all of that. So it's we think that we have to build that up, but it's already in us. So there you go.
So how do you feel about it now, Max?
Oh, yeah. Great that you asked that, because there is a follow-up today. And so today, my sister sent me a voice message for Happy Easter, like that. And as I listened to it, I had the feeling, so the vibration was that she was asked to send me that message by my father and stepmother, because then I could hear behind them, right behind, I could hear their voices. So I said, oh, look, it's interesting, because I took myself out of it completely. I said, okay, this is what you want, this is what you got, I'm out. You don't have a son, good, you said it, now you have it. And so there is already a situation where somehow they try to come back. because then I see that in fact that was not him, right? He didn't mean it in the way I took it, but I don't care. I took it the way I decided to take it. You said it, and this is what you get. But for him, that was a trigger, right? To trigger me into something, but I was not there to be triggered because I had my boundaries. So, but then, right, the thing now is that that an awareness of the meanings of what they say or what they do, and then there is a trying to take it back, to come back to some sort of something, because, well, it didn't work out the way they wanted. And you see, the thing is now the vibration, because it's at the level of the vibration, bringing that to the how do you feel that? How do you feel the vibration of the situation? So for me now, I'm at that where I'm looking mainly of how that feels, so that then I'm able to relate to it in a different way. As you said, 1 year, 6 months ago, even 3 months ago, now it's a in a different level of working with it.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Max. Kimberly, Isabelle?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Firstly, I just want to say to you, Max, and to you, Nikki, thanks for sharing your stories, because, you know, especially talking about close relationships and family, we can be quite vulnerable in that. But of course, in you sharing, of course, you can help others out there who are having similar challenges, because, you know, challenges with family and close friends is quite common. So, but I can imagine you guys have expanded a lot from it, from what it sounds. So that's, you know, one of our soul lessons. When we move through this reality, we get catalyzed by those closest to us. That's how we expand. So with my experience, I've been kind of very grateful that the last couple months, I haven't had any kind of major triggers or anything like that. I feel like, you know, the end of last year to up to late January, there was a lot of stuff happening. So it's like the universe is like, have a break, chill, you know, chill, just ride the wave. So that's what I'm doing. But I would like to share what I'm going through, and that is me exploring more of non-linear time. And because basically the background is that for many years, I've had a limiting belief around time, around not having enough time. And this comes back to my childhood, that I was always, you know, the one always running late. I was always, I don't know, like, yeah, it was known, you know, like Kimberly's always late for everything. I remember at school, I think it was my year 12 formal or year 10, no, it was year 12. I actually got a laminated award, you know, most days late, you know. So I've had this kind of theme in my life of being late or not having enough time and things like that. So obviously that's part of my, you know, soul contracts, because if you look back in your life, if you see a theme, you will find that it kind of resurfaces and infiltrates like other areas of your life throughout your life. So I have awareness around this. So anyway, so my fear popped itself and I processed that. So that's why I'm kind of on this flowing state the last couple of months. So basically, conditions were presented to myself where I was faced with having to do, I guess, non-spiritual work part-time. And I was, at the start, I was very resistant to this, because again, it was this fear of, you know, I need more time to focus on my calling. My calling is, you know, this spiritual work, this overt teaching people, how, you know, about oneness and how to empower people. And yeah, I had a lot of fear. And once I processed that fear, that limiting belief around I'm not going to have enough time because that limiting belief was linear thinking, right? Because if you have X amount of days, you can only get X amount of time done. So I did a lot of processing, and I just was basically like, once I processed it, I surrendered to the universe, and I was like, okay, whatever comes my way, like work-wise, it's for my highest good. So anyway, so now I'm involved in doing part-time things on the side. I guess it's not overtly spiritual, yet I see it as an extension of my spiritual work, because I'm not always overtly talking about these metaphysical truths, oneness. I am at times, but not always. But it's an exercise in me expanding my love and connecting with people through my heart, through my energy. So helping them to activate their ascension journey, but through my, I guess, just radiating love, right? Because as you know, when we raise our frequency, when we can open our heart and see oneness in all, we assist in their awakening journey, right? We kind of plant the seed, right? So not all people around us, and we can just be the light. We affect all those around us. And even though they might not consciously become aware of what's happening, you can over time, that seed starts to grow, right? And you water that seed with love. So anyways, I'm engaging in this new kind of work, I suppose. And I don't know, it's just, I'm processing that fear. What happens, even though I have X amount of days to do my other dedicated work, what I'm finding, and that's what Spirit told me too, is that these conditions has presented itself for me to really practice non-linear time, for me to really understand it and to practice it, and to kind of be love for others in a non-overt way, right? So, and that's what's happened. I could be brushing my teeth, I could be riding, going for a journey on the bus, and all of a sudden I get all these information downloads, like pockets of information. Yes, I got them before, but it's more like, it's more focused energy, and it's more powerful. And even though I'm having less dedicated days to focus on like my projects that I'm doing, overt spiritual projects, I guess you can say, ascension projects, I'm actually getting a lot more done, right? Even though I have less human days to do it, because I'm just really like letting go of that concept of linear time, and I'm just going more of the flow. So I'm just getting those days when I'm really focused with my energy, I get more information downloads. So that's been very interesting. And I feel I've shifted so much in the last couple months. And I thought it would be an opposite, right? I thought if I'm focusing less on my so-called, spiritual work, overt work, something, I just had this, I don't know, like a kind of, I was resistant to it. I thought, okay, if I'm less engaged in overt spiritual work, does that mean, I don't know, I've gone backwards or something like that? It's complete opposite. And I'm just, I don't know, it's like something within me has woken up. I mean, it on another level. It's just, I'm engaging with so many people, physically really connecting my heart to heart with people, and through my voice and just through my smile, and just not, non-overt teachings, just with my energy. As you know, with vibration, we shift those around us and ourselves through vibration. So it's the way we speak, it's the way we smile, it's the way we see our situation, right? That affects our own vibration, and you affect all those around you. So it's just me being in alignment, being conscious of that. And I don't know, I'm just having so much fun. And I've had lots of feedback from people about how it's changing their day just through me, my cheery voice, just through me connecting. I don't know, I don't know. And that's, I guess, the teachings that I want to come across to you is that for those of you who are on this ascension journey, those of you who have gifts, right? Don't be afraid to venture into unknown areas that perhaps it might not be perceived to be your calling, because guess what? It is. It's just in disguise. And that's what I discovered. Some of us who might have fearful of doing certain, roles in our career, or doing certain activities where we perceive to be maybe not as important, right? Because I had this thing, it's like, okay, this is the spiritual work, this is that, these are my projects, that's very important. But these other things, this mundane reality, maybe that's not as important, right? So over time, I've really embodied this truth that everything is spiritual. Every interaction, every opportunity, you can show up, be authentic, and just be the love, even if it's not in an overt kind of spiritual teaching way, but just you connecting and active listening and showing empathy and showing compassion and just really being one with all those around you by perceiving them as you, you know. I mean, there's different processes you can do with that, different levels of understanding and oneness, yes. But if you can at least connect in a point of love, that we're all the one love energy, you know, and just seeing that every interaction is a spiritual interaction. And the fact of being able to really embody this, my overt spiritual work has increased. And it's just, I don't know, it's just, people have noticed, like my husband has noticed a shift with me the last couple of months too. It's just something within me has come, I don't know, more alive. And that's for me engaging in non-overt spiritual work. So it's the complete opposite that I thought. I thought I had to have every inch of my day, not every inch of my day, but of course I've always believed in a balance, spending time with, you know, family and friends and all the rest, and self-care and so forth. But I thought my work aspect had to be all like overtly spiritual, right? Because that's my calling. But no, because when you understand that everything is spiritual, sometimes it's just in disguise, and it's giving you soul lessons and soul tests and opportunities to process limiting beliefs and opportunities for you to connect with others that perhaps you wouldn't have been able to reach before. And that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm being able to connect with people that I work with. And I've been able to have these deep conversations and being able to talk about my work as well as a side effect, right? And just being able to lift the spirits of everyone I work with and in different ways. So it's just, yeah. And with that process, because of my vibration is so high, because I'm engaging with my heart in more expanded ways. Because before, what would happen is that the kind of projects that I do is mostly online, right? So all my work, I'm kind of at home, you know, in my office. And when I see clients, it's online, right? And that's fine. That's great. I get to connect with people online, but to be physically around a lot of more people, and I don't know, it's just those moments and those days where I'm really focused my energy on the overt spiritual teachings, the ascension teachings, and what I'm here to assist awakening is the oneness remembrance, right? It's like, yeah, it's just my energy is more focused and getting more intense downloads, and just more like, I don't know, it was kind of like, because I had all these days to do my projects, my focus would sometimes be here, be there, which is fine because I listen to my guidance. And, you know, sometimes I'll be on this project and go to that project. That's how the universe works with me. They don't like me to start and finish one project. It's very non-linear with me. Again, with my theme with me of non-linear time and linear and non-linear time, that kind of whole dance. And it's kind of, you know, fits in with oneness, right? So linear time is kind of associated with duality, and non-linear time is the multi-dimensional nature of a oneness reality. So when we can really embody that, understand that, even if you guys out there who maybe have to work 9 to 5, but you have these spiritual gifts and maybe you're like frustrated or whatever it is, and you're like, you want to share your gifts, but maybe you don't have the opportunity, or maybe you just don't have the conditions, understand that you can still do what you came here to do. It's just you have to. And that was a lesson for me. I had resistance to it, just to understand that your gifts will always be there no matter what kind of work you're engaging in. If you can just open your heart and connect with your heart and just go with the flow, you'll find opportunities will arise, and you will find it's just, yeah, the universe works in mysterious ways. And it's, it's just like our missions, you know, for those of you who feel like you have a calling to help others, sometimes it's not in ways that you expect all the time, right? So if you can understand that universe does work in those mysterious ways, it's like soul lessons in disguise, and it comes like that for us to be kind of trigger us in a way, because I know it triggered me. I was so resistant. You should see how fearful I was. I was like, oh my God, if I have to do any other, work, what's going to happen to my other projects? It's going to go behind. Like, what does it mean for who I am? Like all this kind of crap associated with my identity, persona, again, like my role. And I don't know, it's just, it was, yeah, I had to do a lot of processing, let's just say. But like I said, the last couple months, I've just been, I don't know, it's just, I feel like even and I've been talking to you guys here, well, I know I have been with Isabelle, that, since Christmas, even my direction is shifted for me professionally as well. Whereas, when I started all this, I started off as a counselor, right? And then I discovered I could channel, right? That was my process. And I was so fixated on all like the metaphysical stuff and the, what's going out in the cosmos and, all that kind of thing. But then like, especially like the last, 6 months or so, Spirit's really focusing on me to kind of everything that I've learned and remembered, right? Because we already know all this information. We're just here on a memory journey. Being able to really embody this information of how the universe works, but to really embody it in physical reality, because that's why we're here. We're here to actually live in physical reality. We're here to embrace it, to be able to see the spiritual gifts and less in physical reality, not to be like, oh, this reality is not advanced. So let's focus on my life on another planet. Let's focus what's going on in that planet. Well, what's going on with that race and what's going on out there, right? But some of us were not as focused on our present physical reality because perhaps our conditions are not very favorable, or we might see events that's happening in the world and we just think what's going on with our planet, what's going on with our civilization and so forth. But understand we're so truly advanced. And once you get to a stage where you can see the spiritual and the love and the perfection, everything in our reality, that's when you really shift. So even though conceptually I knew that, even though conceptually I thought, okay, everything is spiritual, but now that I've really embodied it and I now understand even on a deeper level, nonlinear time, like I said, like it's crazy. Like, in the past, I often have multidimensional conversations with Isabelle and another friend of ours, Astrid, like a future self. I'm talking to them in like a future dimension. It's very interesting. We've talked about this before, but now it's just like, 5 minutes brushing my teeth, all of a sudden, douche, all this information, what to do today, guide us on a project, but it's very sharp, like very intense, very clear pockets of information now. And I'm not in like, a lot of the time we think we get our information when we're like, sleeping or when we're in meditation. Yes, that happens, but I'm finding because I've been able to put myself more in the present moment and just going more of the universal flow. And I'm just getting pockets of information, crazy things, just waiting for a bus, boom, downloads or this, that. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just, I'm really integrating and embodying this nonlinear living in reality, I guess. And so that's my journey at the moment. I'm just loving life. And it's just, I feel like, I've just shifted a lot in the last 2 months. And I don't know, I'm just really embracing physical reality and I'm loving it. So that's my little story for today.
Thank you. That was amazing. Isabelle.
Your story. Okay, friends, do you want me to tell you, do you want me to go into rejection, or do you want me to tell you the recent story about hideous? Hideous or rejection?
You decide. You decide.
Oh, I was going to say, let's make it a game and take a vote.
No, you need to follow inspiration. Give us a juicy story.
A juicy story. I'll go actually into hideous. It's because it's recent. So hideous kept on coming into my thoughts. Just my body's hideous, my skin is hideous. And it was really interesting how specific the word was on hideous. And I knew it wasn't random, and I didn't do anything for it for a little bit. I kind of just observed the word hideous coming into my thoughts. And so when I was ready, I decided to go. I looked up, actually, before I went in, I looked up the word hideous because I was worried. I kind of get clues on etymology of the word hideous. And it was very much fear, terror, disformity, just what you thought the word hideous means. And it was like a French word, Old French, Latin, whatever. So I said, all right, I'm going to go within hideous. As I went into hideous, what surprised me was Medusa came. And I knew Athena had Medusa's face on her shield. And so when Medusa arrived, I said, hi. And she said, she's here to help me with being hideous. And I said, really? Because usually you have to do soul work alone. So I was really surprised that a celestial being came to assist me on the hideous. She said, I wanted to share my story with you. And I said, all right. And she said, the story, what humanity may not realize, but I was so mad at man, I was so angry that I reflected their fear and terror. And so they became paralyzed and almost turned into stone. Because my fear was so intense that when they looked upon me, it reflected back into them, to their own fear, and they were paralyzed. And it was really for us to go within. And so the monsters, being hideous, what is hideous, my child? What you perceive as being hideous can be beauty to another. What is hideous, a monster might be hideous to humans, but the monster to the mother is beautiful. And so there are all these spectrums of being hideous and a monster. And they are all necessary for all of us to have these perceptions. Because fear and terror is really a frequency of love. And it's really to assist us to accepting all parts of ourselves. Being hideous, ugly, disformed, a monster, whatever it is, it really is beautiful. And that was so freaking cool. I can't stand it. It was so cool connecting with Medusa. It was so cool seeing the monsters. It was so cool to see the monster within me. It was so cool. And then so I started to cry and I kissed all the monsters. And I said, thank you. Thank you for reflecting our fears. Thank you for being hideous. And I was just so grateful because it really is just a perception. It really, whether you think you're hideous or ugly or disfigured or mean or whatever you think you are, it's part of all that is. And it's feeling it as unity, as oneness? Can I accept monsters? Can I accept being hideous? Can I accept seeing or feeling the different perspectives? And so that has been my mentorship from the non-physical for the past 6 months. We went into rejection, shame, discouragement, and whatnot. And just recently was hideous. So that's it. That's what's going on with Isabelle Zimmerman.
Isabelle, I love that. I love that. You said something which I find very interesting, and I'd like you to elaborate, if you don't mind. You said hideous is, what did you say? It's love. Did you say that? Talk
Hideous
to us
is
about
love.
that. Yeah, talk to us about that, please.
When you know, Nikki, when you and I were talking about somebody being born beautiful, somebody born disfigured, whatnot. It seems, and Kimberly, this goes back to your conversation, your story. Everything that we experience, whether it's a story, a fairy tale, physical reality, non-physical, it's all one. And I'm beginning to really understand dreams, stories, the now moments, wherever you are. It's just visiting different levels of consciousness and different forms of expression of love. Because everything, all that is love. It's our perception of a monster or hideous as wrong, as not beautiful. And we cannot see why there's a purpose for monsters or hideous acts of crime. And that's a tough one, because hideous acts of crime, you cannot help immediately judge it as wrong. How dare they? How could they? But there are many, many things going in play. And it's all for our expansion. And it's all for us to accept everything, which is a process. So no separation, no judgment, but acceptance and bringing it into beauty, love, understanding, whatever that level of frequency you can achieve, even if you have to bring it into neutrality. It doesn't matter. It is a process. But the oneness aspect is really seeing how much separation and duality is still experienced within me personally, and integrating it and accepting it, and then feeling it as beautiful. So I remember when Isis would say to me in the very beginning, guys, the unwanted is wanted. The unwanted is wanted. The unwanted is wanted. What you do not prefer about yourself is wanted. It has been chosen. You picked it. You brought it forth in this physical reality. Everything is wanted. So my pain and suffering, what I perceive is my pain and suffering, the hurt, the sadness, the depression, whatever I experience, the physical pain, the mental pain, it matters not. It was all wanted. And it's a hard one to accept when you have had trauma, to understand your trauma was wanted. Your rejection was wanted. And that is the work. And I do believe there are phases and stages of this work. I do believe you have to go through many layers. I do believe you have to look at it from different angles and perspectives. I do believe that you get put into different situations to look at the same situation. Because it's all in our soul field. It's all in our consciousness. And we're unifying our consciousness. And this is why a lot of us are experiencing intense dreams. A lot of us are remembering different aspects of our lives that are happening now. Like Kimberly's talking about her future self. Max, I know you know the Vietnam, Chris from Ohio, and you are remembering your hybrid children, and you are remembering other parts of your field. Nikki, I know you are remembering other aspects of your field, right? Or a greater understanding, or your guides show you something, right? And it's because we came into this physical incarnation separated. We separated, and this ascension is really bringing us back into wholeness and oneness. And it's through our vibration and through our beliefs that we ascend, but really all we're doing is we're bringing it back inside. And we're going inside. And we're focusing inside more. Nikki asked me the other day, she said, Isabelle, what excites you? Because I said to her, the things that normally I enjoy, but not at the same level. And she's like, what's exciting you? And I said, my consciousness is exciting me. I'm going within. I'm remembering more. And it's so exciting. And I am present in this physical reality because that's where my consciousness is too. And so I can have both. And how cool is that? So that's my Medusa story.
That's so exciting. I love what you just said. And it's, that it really is exciting to be on this journey, isn't it? I mean, I feel like I've moved to a place where the bad doesn't feel so bad anymore. In fact, the bad doesn't even exist. And I was thinking about, your experience with Hideous, and you reminded me of that I watched a video. I told you, I watched a video on YouTube where there were all these like deformed kids and stuff. And I was plagued by this. I was struck in some 3D mindset where it was like, why would anyone come onto this planet to have this experience? And I channeled, and they said, because it's just an experience. That's it. Like everything else, even the hideous, it's just an experience. And every opportunity we have to detach from what we identify as wrong, right? So we get all these incredible challenges, and it's I'm the one that's calling that a wrong experience, right? I'm the one who's calling my own experiences contrasting experiences. They're actually very expansive, right? But I've said this before, like I give my emotions stars, and joy gets 4, and heartache and sadness, there's no stars for those. And what's interesting on this journey for me anyway is that I'm becoming more neutral around that stuff. Even if it's there, I'm not judging it as wrong or bad. It's just what is. And I did want to quickly say to Kimberly about her experience, that I had a similar experience. I do a volunteer thing in Paris once a year. And I did this, like, it was a day sale, and a lot of Americans come, and we're an association, it's private. And I had so much fun. And it had changed because of COVID, and it used to be a big thing. And now everything sort of changed. And, as humans, I don't know about you guys, but I want everything to stay the same. nice and safe and comfortable, and everything was different. The people were different, the people running it. You know, I'd been in this association about 25 years, and I'm like, who are these young chicks that are changing everything around? And at first my feathers were a bit ruffled with all this change. And then I just stepped right into it, and I embraced the situation. And I had the time of my life. I kid you not, I made 3 new friends that all have contacted me since that thing. And it was way better than any of the previous events because I was locked into some other kind of mindset. So change is a great catalyst for forging new experiences and stepping out of, you know, these old identities, you know. And that's, I think, one of the things about like getting this job, Kimberly, when you put yourself in a new situation, you know, we are vulnerable because we're not in what we know. And so it allows us to be more open-hearted, you know, instead of closing up. And this thing about, what did you call it? You called it overt teachings or something like that. I was thinking about it. Like, I had so many like love experiences from that thing in Paris. And, you know, in September, my husband had this huge heart attack, you guys know, and he was in intensive care for like 2 weeks. And it was very, you know, it was a big event in our family life and in, you know, all the friends and all that. And what I want to say is about it is that prior to my husband's heart attack, I sort of had grouped everyone, like my spiritual friends are my real friends. And then like the people in the 3D community are fun, but they're not quite as important as my spiritual friends. And it was so interesting because people came out of the woodwork to give us support and love. And I realized we're all the same. We're all equally worthy. We don't have to have a hierarchy, right? And that my heart just opened up, and I realized every single person that I know or even don't know has a heart, and their essence is love. And all I have to do is remember that, and I can connect. And it's amazing what can happen when I let go of the identities and I let go of the stories and I move into my heart center and I open, you know. And that's just amazing. Does anybody else want to jump in here?
Well, I was thinking we should wrap it up and find out who's hosting next.
Great. All right, Max, you don't have anything else you want to say, honey?
Yeah, yes. Just a big thank you to everyone that is watching, listening. I in my last retreat, I met actually someone that is probably watching this. So this inspires me really to say thank you to everyone that is connecting with us, and you're great. Thank you.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And we'll be getting together in 2 weeks. And who's our host for next time?
Kimberly.
I think is it me? I don't know. It was either me or you, Max. I can't remember. But
Kimberly.
Okay, it's me then.
Yay! All right, listen, let's close this up. Thank you, everyone who listened, who is listening to this, and we'll see you again soon. And I love you guys. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.